Good afternoon. It is Monday, October 4th, 2021, and today we had, you could call it a downward trend day, but it really just made a measured move of the overnight highs and lows. So you can see prices bouncing off that measured move. We made two touches and then just went sideways. So, really, most of the day was just a range day. So I don't think you could, I don't see any way to get in on any of this, unfortunately. But we'll take a look. So we bounce at the overnight lows, and you know what? I feel like, yeah, I think I might have missed some. So let me take a look. 5 o'clock comes in right here, and this kind of looks like a double bottom, but you might look at this as a first entry failure right here, failed second entry, but that's in congestion. So I don't think you should, or going into this congestion, so I don't think you should take that. Here, unfortunately, right here, you get a second entry, but there's no setup. There's no signal bar, unfortunately. Here you get the first entry, and you know what? You might go long here, especially since that looks like it's off of support. So let me mark that as aggressive. It's just you're going right into the EMA, and there isn't room to scalp out. But you might go long there. And then here, this would keep you out of a failure if you don't go short here because of congestion. Don't take failures in congestion. You get a second entry short right here, but the signal bar is no good. Crazy congestion right here. No setups in this. And right here, just the signal bar is no good, unfortunately. Because if we got a good setup right here, we could have rode this all the way down. Here we get a second entry right here, but that looks like a better setup for a failed second entry short. So I don't think you can take this either. And this is really just a first entry right here. Or no, it's a second entry. First entry, second entry short. I think you would go on the engulfing bar because you're going into the lows. So again, just no real good setup here. And we get this overshoot of this channel that leads to a break. First entry, second entry short. I don't think that works. And it's a doji, so don't take these dojis. And this is clearly a move up, so you want to wait for a break and a move to a new high. We haven't really gotten a break yet. So we got a break, failed attempt to go high, and then we don't get a chance for a failure here. You get a first entry, and that's it. Move to a new low. That's one leg. So here, let's take a look at this. We get this move. Overshoot leads to a break, so we're waiting for a move. Two legs to a new low. We get one leg to a new low. And so finally, we get a first entry, second entry short off the EMA. And that's the first good setup of the morning, at least on my chart. And that's at 8:02 a.m. So you got to sit tight. And then this is just all back and forth. But the bias is definitely down. And at this point we hadn't... Oh, wait, did we? Yeah, we still didn't quite make that measured move. So prices start to move down again here. You get a first entry, failed second entry long, but this is far from the EMA. You make a double top right here. First entry, failed second entry long. This is far from the EMA as well, but it just looks like it's closer to the trend line than this one. So this is tough. This is a tough day to trade, I think, anyway. We make this level of resistance up here, and then these lows. Really, initially, I had my level of support drawn right here. So you might have gone long in this if you had your level of support right there. If you got like a higher low, you might take one of these, like this one. You might have taken this one. But I'm going to stick with these shorts. However, we get an overshoot right here, and you get a first entry, second entry. Normally, I wouldn't probably take that since we just hit off the highs of my level of resistance, but that's just such a great signal bar, and it traps the longs. I like that. And really, this is the first failure right here, second entry failure right here. But when we get this lower high, you might consider going short there. Here we get a first entry, second entry short, but look how congested that is. And this is a new high, so you get a first entry, failed second entry, but that's congestive too. And I made the mistake of taking this. I think this actually worked, but this second entry short did not work. You got trapped, and then it goes where you expect it to go. So just be real careful with that stuff. You can see the midline here. And that being the case, we didn't quite make it to the bottom of the channel. So stay out of congestion. I went short there. And when we make this double test up here, that's looking like the midline of this range. So I looked at that as a second entry short, because this isn't a new low right here. So first entry, second entry. And then here we get a first entry, second entry, and it was near this level right here, which was a double top. So you might have had your level of support right there, and if you did, maybe you would take that. So that's why I put a square there. And then we just get super congestive. And you finally do get a good setup right here on a first entry, second entry short, and this is where I drew my level of resistance on this smaller range, so that sets up well for me. And then here, this is just super aggressive. This is a first entry, but it looks like a failed breakout of congestion. And then I don't think you can take this, because at this point it looks like we're trending higher. And by the way, I should have pointed that out. The greater channel for the morning is right here. We had an overshoot right here, and that's when we just started going sideways. But here it looks like we're trending higher. So I don't think you can take this lower high right here just because it's going straight into the midline. Definitely can't take these. But we start trending up. This is off of resistance. You might take that. But this, we get a first entry, second entry long setup, and there's room to the highs, so I like that. Price have been, you can see them responding to the EMA. So it's aggressive, but I took that and I like that. Here we get a first entry, failed second entry long. We're not looking for failures in congestion, so really I'm looking at that as a failed breakout of this range. So that's why I marked it red. And I don't really see much I like here. So take note, we get this channel up, you get an overshoot that leads to a break, and we're expecting a move after the correction, a move to a new low. So you might take this lower high right here, but I don't think that's very safe. And this is just too congestive to me. I don't think you can take any of that. So that's what I saw for today. Really, I hope people practice patience today, and I hope you walked away from the chart when these setups just weren't happening. I only marked 2 red trades today and 1 blue one. So I did not practice patience. So let's take a look at the trades I took. I took trades in the overnight, which I shouldn't have done. This is actually, it looks like a decent entry. First entry, failed second entry long. Oh, but it's an inside bar, so I shouldn't have taken that. But it does end up being a good move, but it's too aggressive. So I went short here on a limit order. I think looking at it as a second entry short, but this looks congestive. We got these overlapping bars. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know. This is tough. The signal bar doesn't end up well either. That's what you should have. Oh, that's the problem. I went on an engulfing bar because I wasn't thinking clearly. First entry, second entry. If you let that bar close, you see it's not really a good signal bar. So, poor behavior there. Just no good setups in here. This was another situation where I think it was just poor behavior. We get this overshoot, leads to a break. It looks like a first entry. Second entry. Oh yeah, I went long here. So why am I going long? This is a strong move down. Do not go long. That's a counter trend trade. I don't know why I did that. I entered on a limit order, low risk. But we're expecting a move to a new low, and that's exactly what we get. Really, I should have been looking for a failed second entry long here, which we never got. Second entry short right here. And then I looked at this as a failure. I think if... Okay, so I got filled here. This looks too congestive for a failure. You can see that. That's way too congestive for a failure. You want it to be in a trend. So this is not a good entry, even though it worked. But I don't know what I did here. 2 entries? I have no idea what I did there. So that's terrible. Here we get a bounce off of resistance. You get a lower high. I think I probably looked at this as a failure. First entry, second entry. So this is aggressive, but I think it's okay. So you got consecutive lower highs off of resistance. Went short here. Failed second entry long, I looked at this as. Luckily I got filled there, but that looks congestive. Look, you get a doji. These 2 bars are pulling back. They're overlapping. This one's overlapping, so that's just congestive. Then you get a first entry, second entry short that I got trapped on. That's a doji. This is congestion. Stay out of that. First entry, failed second entry long. How do I feel about this one? First entry, failed second entry long. I don't like it because it's above the EMA. So I don't like that. Although it worked. And here, this is second entry long. I don't think this is a terrible entry. I don't really have a problem with that. It's aggressive because it's off the EMA, and that's our secondary trend line, but it's a second entry. Got a nice move, nice little runner out of that. So that's what I did today. Should have, I don't know. I'm going to really have to think about my behavior today. There just weren't a lot of good setups today. So keep that in mind. Don't overtrade. If you're not getting setups, you probably want to walk away. So hope everyone had a good day. I'll be back tomorrow.